Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If there's one store that I've used in this series that always comes through for me, it's Walmart. Now, regardless of how you feel about the company, there are a couple of things that make Walmart a perfect choice when it comes to building your own homemade MREs. One of them is, of course, just the sheer size of the stores, which means they're always going to have a big selection of items. The other is that there are Walmarts in most communities, which makes it easy for people to find the items that I'm featuring in these particular videos. Now, while each store does sometimes carry different items based on region and demographic and whatnot, a lot of these items are readily available. And of course, every time I feature Walmart in one of these videos, a lot more people tend to be interested in the video because it's something they can relate to. Sure, it's fun to watch the videos where I go to little mom and pop stores in a small community, but really most people do look at these videos as a source of finding help for doing this themselves. So people definitely sit up and take notice when I use a store that they have in their own backyard. Now, with that being said, this video is going to feature a little bit of a different approach with Walmart's products because a lot of the things that I'm featuring in this particular video were things that I found on closeout or clearance. Now, there are a couple things that were not, and I will note that and why I chose those items, but I thought it was interesting I was able to find so many items so cheap on closeout. Now, closeout generally means that they're not going to be carrying this particular product at that location, and it may just be something that didn't sell well with their customer base. And Walmart's kind of weird in that they don't do that corporate wide. They only do it at certain stores. I can go in one store and find something super cheap on clearance and closeout, and in the next town go to another Walmart and find the same exact items still at full price. So I can't guarantee you're going to find these items as cheap as I got them, but my hope with this is that you'll look at it and realize that sometimes you have to look beyond what's on the rack and see if there are other ways to get the items that you need even cheaper. So with that being said, let me introduce you to the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Menu WM4. This is now the fourth single meal MRE that I've done at Walmart, which once again backs up the fact that you can get a huge variety of items there. And in most of the ones that I've done, I have not duplicated items. Everything is a unique item to that meal. Now, as usual, the rules on how I build my MREs is going to be down in the description box below. So if you're curious about that, go check that out and see. Also, you'll notice any products that I use in this video, there'll be an affiliate link down there so that you can go and look at them if you're interested. So with that out of the way, let's get into this bag and see what kind of items we've got, because this one, I think this is going to be a winner. For our entree, I was really surprised to find this line of items on closeout. At my store, for whatever reason, they were closing out the Loma Linda plant-based meals line. Now, there was a couple that I really wanted, but they were sold out already. So I settled for this Greek bowl. This has chickpeas, olive oil, and brown rice. And I think this is going to be a really good base for our meal. Say what you want about these plant-based options. If you don't like them, don't use them. But I have found that these are a great base for things. So I can either eat this as the entree itself, or I can do like I'm fixing to and add a little bit of protein to it. Now for this, I found these items and most of them were regularly priced, but for whatever reason, this particular one was on closeout, and I think it's a perfect addition to that. What I found was these chicken of the sea tuna infusions, and this is the cracked black pepper variety. All this really is it's a little tub of tuna that has extra seasoning and oils in it. And I think that the flavors for this are going to go really well with that Greek bowl. So before we go any further, I'm going to get these in the trucker's lunchbox so that they can be warming up. Then we're going to see what else I've got in this bag. When I'm building these meals, whenever I can, I like to find items to include that kind of either just complement the other items or fall within a theme. It's not always easy to do, but I also don't like the idea of just throwing a bunch of random items in this bag. Just because they fit within the rules doesn't mean they're going to make the best balance of a meal. And so for our side, this is the first item in here that was not on closeout or clearance, but it was so unique and so interesting that I had to get it because I think it's going to be a perfect accompaniment for that entree. What I picked up was this kind savory bar. This is roasted nuts and jalapeno. What an interesting idea to take these snack bars and approach it from a savory aspect. All of these things tend to be more on the sweet side, but let's face it, every once in a while, that's not what you want. Yeah, you can get sweet and salty, or you can get sweet, but now you can get savory. And I think this is going to be an amazing accompaniment, because one of the things with Mediterranean food, which is kind of what we're doing with this entree, that a lot of meals feature things like nuts and peppers and fruits and things like that. So getting something that's not so sweet, that's going to be an interesting thing to try out. For a walking around snack, I found the coolest thing on the clearance rack at the back of the grocery section. I had already grabbed one variety of this item that was on full price, and I was going to use it just because I thought it was cool. And then when I found this one on clearance, I knew I had to have it. What I picked up was this True Fruit Real Coconut Melts. This is a coconut center with chocolate. I love coconut and I love chocolate, and that's a great combination. If you're a fan of Mounds bars, I think that's going to hit pretty close to home. Now, the cool thing about the items that I was finding on clearance and closeout was that there was no issue with expiration date. They weren't on clearance because they were about to go out of date or that they had gone out of date. I guess they just didn't sell well at that store. Now, granted, I did go to a Walmart store that had a very different demographic than the ones in my community, and I have a feeling that had a lot to do with the particular items that were on closeout. I think these just weren't popular with that crowd. My youngest daughter is a giant fan of True Fruit, whether it's the shelf-stable stuff or the stuff you get out of the freezer section. So I'm really anxious to try this and see how it is. And I did buy the other kind too, so that may show up later. For our dessert, I picked up one of my favorites. I was struggling to find a good dessert for this meal, but one section that always comes through for me is the movie candy section. You know, the thing where they sell things for $1 or $1.25 that are the same size as the $8 box at the movie theater. And what I picked up was a box of lemon heads. Lemon heads is one of my favorite all-time candies, and to get a big old box of these for $1.25 that had the right expiration date on it, I think that's gonna work. And finally, the last thing in here is our beverage. And for that, I picked up this Starbucks hot cocoa with marshmallows. I looked all over the place for the right coffee or tea drink, and I just wasn't really finding anything that spoke to me. And I've had other kinds of hot cocoa, but I've never tried the hot cocoa from Starbucks. So while it's a little more pricey than, say, Swiss Miss, and this wasn't an item that was on closeout, I figured let's give that a go, and let's see how the Starbucks hot cocoa matches up against the other stuff that we've had. All right, so that's everything that's in our homemade MRE from Walmart. Let's get started trying some of these items, and to do that, we need to get our cocoa mixed up so that we'll have something to wash it down with in case one of these things is funky. I have no idea what to expect when I bite into that nut and jalapeno bar, so I'm gonna be ready with a drink. By the way, you may notice behind me that there's a little clutter accumulating in the galley. I've been doing a lot of cleaning out of my studio workspace back here. There's so much stuff in here, and I've been trying to find permanent homes for things so that they're out of the way but still usable. So right now I'm trying to find space for everything. I have a few things that are just kind of waiting for their forever home. Let's open this up. And of course, you know what we need for this? We need the Dad Budget Adventures Bling Mug. That's the perfect way to drink hot cocoa, right? This has a very, very rich chocolatey smell to it. I'm looking forward to trying that. By the way, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to like this video. Also, go down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you can be made aware of all upcoming videos. Also, if you have a store in your community where you think I should try to make a homemade MRE, drop me a comment down below and tell me about it. I may not have it in my area, but I do tend to travel a lot, and while I'm out, I try to find new places to visit. Smells really good. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little marshmallows in there. We're gonna set this aside for a moment, let it rest, and then we're gonna get to trying some of these other items. By the way, if you're curious about my t-shirt that I've got on, this is from the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. We went there 2 years ago, had an amazing time, have not been able to work out going back since. But if you're into that kind of thing, go check out that event. It is so fun. All right, so the first thing we want to try is our Kind Savory Bar. I'm so curious about this. I'm just imagining what the pitch must have been like when the folks are sitting around trying to come up with these ideas and somebody pitched this idea. Wow, that is a really different smell. That is so odd. This is absolutely a completely savory aroma. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but the seasoning, the jalapenos, everything is just really, I mean, this punches you in the face. This is a really, really rich aroma. Wow. Okay, let's give that a try. I have a feeling this is one of those meals where I probably should have included some of those little gum chiclets, because this thing smells like it's going to give me dragon breath. So let's give it a try. That is so unique and completely crazy. There's a good bit of heat to it that really hits you after you've been chewing on this for a bit. It's not immediately obvious, but once you really get to chewing, you start feeling it. The flavor is great. There is a lot of seasoning in this thing though, and it really just, I can tell already I'm going to have absolutely horrible breath after eating this. It's something you got to think about with a snack like this. If you're keeping this on hand at the office so that you can have something to munch on when you need it, keep this with a pack of gum. You're going to need it. I think I'm picking up on onion and garlic powder. That is really good. It's very reminiscent of your typical savory trail snacks, but in a compressed form. Ooh, that one's hitting me in the back of my throat. It's kind of getting up my nose. That'll clear you out. Let's give our hot cocoa a try and our 6 marshmallows. You see them? They look so lonely in there. All right, let's give this a try. The first sip, I got 5 marshmallows. I have one little lonely marshmallow left. That's pretty good hot chocolate. I'm not sure I can completely trust what I'm tasting though because of that kind bar, but the chocolate really works well chasing that. It kind of has that whole Mexican chocolate thing to it with the spice of that bar and then the chocolate that's in here. And by the way, Starbucks, if you're listening, Mexican hot chocolate, that'd work. I like that. That's good hot chocolate. I'd drink it again. Next up, let's try our True Fru Real Coconut Melts. Disappointingly, it does not have a Ziploc top. So once you get into this, you got to eat it all, right? These are different from what I expected. They're a little bigger than I thought they might be, but they look like malted milk balls. I can smell the coconut through the chocolate. This really smells good. I think this is going to be a treat. Wow. That's really good. Look, I got a chocolate butt. Those are great. That combo just works. I may have to go back and get some more of those off the clearance rack. All right, so that gets us up to our entree. So let's get this thing out, plate it up, and see what we've got. Let's get that open. It smells very good. It smells very rich. That's a lot of food in there. Let's get this out on our plate and see exactly what we've got here. That's interesting. That is an olive. One of the things that I've found with Loma Linda is that when they list the things that are in their meals, they always leave things out. So I'm kind of surprised to see olive slices in this because you'd think that would be one of the things that they would put on the label. But I see carrots, I see chickpeas, olives, there's something green in there, maybe peppers. All right, let's see how this is on its own. That's got a good flavor to it. If you were to eat this by itself as your entree, that would be perfectly acceptable to most people. Some people are probably out there already with their heads exploding because I'm featuring a vegetarian dish. This could absolutely be eaten by itself. Chickpeas are an excellent alternative if either you don't like meat or if you try not to eat meat every meal. And a lot of people are finding that that's a reasonable way to live. Not to mention, it's a little cheaper if you just go with this instead of trying to add meat to it. But we're definitely going to add meat to it. Let's get into this and see how this, oh, look at this. So this little pack here comes with a fork built into the inside of the lid. I did not know that was in there. And check this out. We got to dive deeper into this. This is a cool design. All right, so the fork comes out, but then it comes out even more. Look at that. And it snaps into this little post here that holds it into place. But then once you tear this off, you fold that out and it clicks into place and you've got your little fork. How cool is that? That's a neat little idea. Got a good double packed top. We got that aluminum seal on the inside. We've got the plastic lid that goes on the outside. So it's less likely to have something happen to it that'll damage the seal. It smells good. It just smells like tuna at this point. But it's very moist tuna. There is a little bit of liquid in here, but it's not like overflowing or anything. Let's give that tuna a taste. That's pretty good tuna. It's a little salty. The black pepper flavor is there. That's pretty good stuff. I would definitely do that again. But let's do what we came here to do. Let's get this added in. Let's stir that in. Yeah, every time I do this, somebody comes into the comments talking about the people at Loma Linda are probably losing their minds watching me add meat into this. But hey, I bought it with my grown-up money. I can do what I want. All right, so let's give this a try. See what we got. Hey, that's really good. That tuna really changes the flavor spectrum a lot. It goes from being pretty good to being quite good. That is really tasty. Yeah, I absolutely recommend that. That Greek rice bowl is good on its own, but you add that tuna in there, it really elevates it. Not to mention you're just really kicking up that protein. Let's follow that with a bite of this. Yep, they just work. They work really well together. That's a good combo. A great man once said, "I love it when a plan comes together." I always love when these meals just work out. Put a little bit of thought into it, but then when it really comes down to it, sometimes they just don't click. This time, totally does. All right, so I got to wrap this thing up. I've got someplace I got to be today. So let's try our dessert, our lemon heads. Not that I've never tried them before, but any excuse to eat lemon heads is a good one. Pucker up. Lemon heads have never failed me. Not sure that's the best chaser for lemon heads, though. All right, people, that is it for our fourth journey into doing homemade MREs at Walmart. I had a lot of fun including these closeout and clearance items into this. And once again, this just points out that there are alternative ways of getting the things that you want. Sometimes that clearance section is a good way to help knock down the cost of your MREs and still get things that are going to work for you. Don't write it off just because it's on clearance. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. Sometimes it just means that the people that shop at that particular store weren't interested. But that is to our benefit. If you enjoy this channel and this content, go over and check me out on Instagram if you're not already over there. I do post things over there that don't end up on this channel. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. And until next time, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you around.